Oi skaramushyo, kurtu halgi tarbayo. Ay, kurtu halgai tarbayo. Kurtu halgai tarbayo, tarpsis ali samanye. Ay, tarpsis ali samanye. Oi montushi, come to mani aguine. Ay, come to money aguine, come to money aguine, here in Vasca Ruzarashe. Here in Vasca Ruzarashe, here in Vasca Ruzarashe, here disturbas nucale. Here disturbas nucale, pirma turbio, irkia melio isio doms. Isgia merio, isio doms, antra tibi turbio, perasial maio damas. Perats mana iodaimas, gracia turbio, prevasciala prusiories. Prevascialo prusiores, manzergeles suvigno, visas vaiscas susiero. Visas vaiscas susiero. Ia susiero, curio mana imane. Curio mana imane. Iratian suvenial pux, nasurio. Zuvendor pux nasiario, cae plesia sustium, zuverosis cae porium. Zuvereisias pusioium, musis catscus labia drux, ticras buvo carariux. Ticras buvo carialux. Winged Hussars Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth song. Check this out. I know you can't really see this because the light isn't right for it, but it's Hargrave Military Academy, Sabre. Uncles. There seems to be a civil war inside of Maha right now, and I'm rooting wholeheartedly, just as I said the last episode, for the side that isn't trying to convince me to take $400 a month supplement nobody had ever heard about before 2015. The day is coming fast when Blizzard decides to remaster the abomination that is Diablo 3. Be warned, be wary, because it's coming. I love how the millennial curse is that we're always too shy before opening up, and then we become annoying. It's true, though. I think the fact that Fetterman drives like an absolute lunatic and is also a rabid Zionist is in line with what I say about Zionists being deliberately aggressive drivers, particularly in my physical observations and my grounded real life. And generally annoying bloodthirsty plagues on society, yes, but also specifically in a couple of fields standing out as outliers. And I would say the fact that police have been trained by Israel since 9/11, and the fact that Israelis are coming in our streets and doing whatever they want and causing chaos and havoc, I think those two are connected issues. I really do. I really, really do. I think it's funny, the fact that there's not issues anywhere. Like, I helped with stuff around my neighborhood by the grace of God. Could have also been a coincidence, could have done nothing at all at the end of the day. I never really know that for sure. But around the area was still very loud up until just recently when a lot of people started to move. Now they have too many empty houses up for sale, with insurance not colliding properly with how people want to spend to live in Florida. And all of a sudden, this issue that I had suspected was tied to real estate is no longer going on. So, just a little thought, just a little observation. And it seems more and more people every single day are starting to see this, including President Trump. It's probably been very hard for the Zionists to deal with Trump MK2, especially if they're Democrats. But, take DeSantis, for instance. He faced off against Trump on behalf of Israeli supremacy in United States politics. He got single digits in his own state against Trump. Very noticeable. Imagine you're Josh Shapiro over in Pennsylvania. Your entire job is to posture against Trump and the people who love him. But your main concern is Israeli supremacy and fighting to secure bipartisan support for Israel. That's the paramount issue for you as Josh Shapiro. Everyone is utterly arrested by this maverick, this wild one. And that puts you in a very tough position. You're stuck between a rock and a hard place. They got to rely completely on new faces, such as Laura Loomer. Laura Loomer is gonna go down in the history books. She's gonna go down in the history books as one of the most influential people in current American politics. She is, straight up. I really personally think that she's gonna linger around for like another year or so before there's serious tensions flaring up. I really do believe that. Laura Loomer is genuinely impressive, and I think that a lot of that has to do with the fact that you are the company that you keep. It's very important. You are who you put yourself around. That's a wise bit of advice that was tendered to me by a guy named Gator in a trailer park when I was young, and I stuck with it, and it is so true. Laura Loomer, was around Milo Yiannopoulos. Milo Yiannopoulos is a genius. He is an absolute genius. And he is one of the few people in this world that I am genuinely terrified of ever facing off against in any way, shape, or form. I genuinely believe that somebody like Milo Yiannopoulos is capable of piecing apart, tearing away from, and dissolving basically any opponent that he's put against over a period of time. So, Laura Loomer, Milo Yiannopoulos, close friends for a while. Not sure if they're still friends. I'm interested to find that out. But I think that's where she gets it from. Milo Yiannopoulos is profoundly capable and intelligent. And he, I'm pretty sure, is the reason why, although it might be opposite, Gavin McInnes, who founded the Proud Boys, mind you, but also was like a main proponent, this is years before he founded the Proud Boys, a main proponent of the hipster movement. And he was like the number one guy turning the hipster movement into a right-wing movement, which is effectively where you had the most beautiful girls out of any of the political movements was that Gavin McInnes hipster movement. With the Argyle button-downs and stuff like that. Fascinating stuff. Truly, truly fascinating stuff. That is also sector adjacent. Imagine being the Mossad unit responsible for keeping Trump out of office after the establishment very visibly discarded him, including Fox News, blacked him out. The Southern District of New York charges didn't stick. Crooks missed due to not accounting for the body heat coming off of an excited Trump rally, physically in the air, pushing the bullet away from a trajectory that it normally would have gone. Fascinating stuff, truly. The burning heart of humanity striving so hard that they ended up saving their hero. And I believe his name was Tony. He was an Italian firefighter. I can't remember his last name. Rest in peace. That's a hero. That's how you want to go out as a man. If you're a man and not a boy, you probably have visualized like dozens and dozens and dozens of times jumping in front of a bullet to save your children, to save your wife. You know, you probably imagine that a bunch. Well, unless you're a little boy, and then you would just imagine peeing your pants and hiding in the corner. You know, we all gotta die sometimes. And that man died a hero. But on top of crooks, the media blackout. I was just talking about Fox News even signed on to a media blackout. They didn't talk about Trump for like 1.5 to 2 years. Newsmax was the only channel talking about Trump for that first 1.5 years. Seriously. Newsmax. That's why they're a thing now. That's why they're going to continue to be a thing. They weren't very well rewarded for that by Trump, I will admit. He was a little bit too nice to Fox after they weren't very kind to him. Not a fan of Fox, personally. It seems like every single older person that is exposed to Fox ends up having, like, demons. Not, like, for lack of more skeptical, more realistic, for lack of a better word, lack of a rationalistic, there's the best word for it, a rationalistic word is lacked in this issue. Fox News fills old people, especially older men, with demons that are poured into their eye gates and then possess them and then ruin their lives, take their money, dissociate them from their families the same way that I saw far left politics dissociating young people from their families and filling their heads with demons. I see on the far right, Fox News, which is a far right organization, 1000%. You think that Fox News isn't right-wing enough for you, buddy, we're probably not going to get along very well. Just saying, we can sit down on a table and talk about things. But, like, Fox News is a objectively too far-right organization that only tries to create worthy victims out of a specific cast of people, such as the CEO that Luigi Mangione shot. That is not a worthy that is not the definition of a worthy victim in a Chomskyan sense. That is a man who has murdered people every single day of his life for likely years. And I'm not sure how long his tenure as an executive has lasted. And who ended up getting killed directly by somebody that he hurt, you see. But that's aside, Fox News is genuinely bad for people's brains, especially older male people's brains. And I've heard people talk about this and they think, oh, you know, Fox News, they got it going on. They have the pretty women. And I think a lot of the boomers, they're still stuck in this, you got a pair of boobs on the TV, you got treats in the kitchen, you know, it doesn't matter if your country's going to war, Vietnam, or Afghanistan, or Iraq, or Somalia, or Syria, or Libya, or Yemen, or, you know, any of the others, like Niger, which was a more recent war than a lot of people don't talk about. It doesn't matter because you're comfortable, you got the boobs, you got the treats, you know, you got your high fructose corn syrup, you got your diesel, you got everything, all your processed goods, but no seed oils. No. That's no seed oils, just processed diesel, processed high fructose corn syrup. All right. I'm getting off track. Let's get back on track, shall we? That only made people miss Trump more. But regardless, ironically, if it wasn't for Christianity keeping the zeitgeist of the Old Testament alive, at least partially, there would likely be no Jews today. Seriously. But because it is kept alive through the accomplishments of Christendom, there is something there to tether back to, and for the Jews to say, well, we meant something. We did something. And I think that is a lot like the connection between the two, which is to say, in a Ben Shapiro sense, the Judeo-Christian history is a history of Jewish people assisting in the birth of the new covenant after the dissolution of the old covenant. Now, a lot Zionists very strictly do not believe that the new covenant is valid, the covenant of Jesus Christ's sacrifice for all human beings to ransom them from the fires of hell and to make them co-equal covenanters with his people, the Jews. The Zionists do not believe that. And that's one of the reasons why we just do not get along. We will not get along ever as long as that opinion stays valid. And that's just that, you know? Because if you believe that, as a Jewish person, you're admitting that you do not think that other people can earn equality to you, and it's not due to anything that you do, it's due to your race. And sorry, I ain't about that life. I believe in free will. I do not believe in predestination, which is a Calvinist, and in some ways, but not in all ways, not in a Davidian sense, but in a Pharisaical sense. A lot of the Old Testament theology does not believe in free will, but instead in predestination, as in God has already determined everything to happen in such a way as that it will happen, and human beings do not actually have free will. It's actually a big difference between the angels in the Jewish faith and the Christian faith. In the Jewish faith, the angels and Satan do not have free will. They were all programmed to be exactly in the position that they were. So an archdemon was programmed by God to be an archdemon. Satan, in the Jewish sense, is a prosecutor mounting up your sins before God, who is a judge. This is the exact way that I've heard it explained multiple different times from multiple different Jewish people. And in the Christian faith, they believe that the angels chose to fall through pride, and that ultimate paramount sin is the falling of humanity that we chose. So that's all I'd say. Pretty funny that Galway proper in Ireland is significantly more beautiful than most European cities. It's true. It's a gorgeous place. Gosh, I love Ireland. Something about Ireland just calls to me, But this is my home. My ancestors are buried here. Most of the good I've done in my life has been diffused through a drastically ignoble and increasingly immoral environment. But change might be coming fast. It was still good practice, though. Like the mustard seed, it can and will spring to life given the right conditions. And it does matter. It's crazy, though, when you listen to leftist ideology enough, you notice there's a genuine desire to abolish inheritance, like a genuine, concerted desire to abolish inheritance. And then you figure, this might be one of the reasons why young leftists are so often driven to leave their homes and abandon their families. I was just talking about this in reference to the comparison between how Fox News makes older people abandon their families. Leftist ideology makes younger people abandon their families. It isn't just rebellious or Darwinist or anti-natalist or insane. There's a deeper meaning born in pride and prejudice. Rarely works out, though. It rarely works out. It probably almost never works out. I'd probably say about 10% or less of the time, it actually ends up being better off. And usually that 10% is because they were going to be better off regardless than if they had stayed around their family, the people that care for them the most in the world. Their mothers. Happy Mother's Day, by the way. Be nice to your mom! Mothers, by the way, that risk their lives to bring you into this world. Straight up. Facts. People don't appreciate that. Sickening little gremlins, little Gretchens that don't care. Gotta cut that out. Really, gotta cut that out. Stop letting society lie to you. Does not have your best interest at heart like your family does. It's funny how unserious a language Dutch is. It literally is a parody of a Germanic language. Like, you know how French is a little silly, but still deeply serious? And how German is just pure seriousness with no silly? You have to imagine the Dutch language being spoken by a bubbly blonde girl with pigtails and wooden shoes in order for it to sound right. It really is such a silly language. Well, I will say, it does feel in many ways pure of heart. Guys, gather around, guys. Take a knee. Let me level with you. It's gay to like sitting in your vehicle, feeling more comfortable inside a cockpit than on your own two God-given legs. That's feminine behavior, for sure. A real alpha dog manster would feel as comfortable on his feet than in a car or in a boat or on a plane. You know, you could be president. You could be pope. The world is open. It only requires willpower to function. Since certain factors on the right have decided to start unironically calling Pope Leo XIV, and I'm not joking about this, a female to male trans, I'm going to go ahead and say it. Most phrenology, that skull studying with the calipers, is meant to hijack the brains of face-blind autistic people because there are a lot of them out there. I was surprised at how many face-blind autistic people there are when I spent enough time on kiwi farms. I was surprised. I'd never thought that I was like one of the only people that could rotate the apple inside of my own head. Oh, man. Like, the face blindness of some people is astonishing. And yeah, that's where you get a lot of this Michelle Obama as a man thing. Now, Trogno, Emmanuel Macron's partner, that's a man. Okay? That's a man. Michelle Obama, that's a female. It's just, that is an African-American female who probably his lineage traces back to an incredibly strong set of men and women. Duh. It's so funny, like, here's the evidence that Michelle Obama is transgender, and it's a Photoshop picture. Now, Lady Gaga, on the other hand, don't take that one home. Nope. Don't take that one home. You don't want to unwrap that package. I hate Kanye West bigly, but stale 2000s music with Hitler speeches overlaid, this too is art. By the by, I really dislike Hitler's voice. It's shrill. But I'd be lying if I said it wasn't passionate. It's probably apropos for the feelings of the German people after World War I. Some Greek guy without eyebrows made a really good point. I think his name is Varoufakis or something like that, but Greek names give me trouble. He said that Gaza is America's Kristallnacht. Most people in America view such actions as below their country's morality. But there are some few who cheer, and they cheer them on with gusto. And that is exactly how honest, corroborated reports have framed how Kristallnacht was received, which is very early in the events of the Holocaust. Kristallnacht, very early in the events of the Holocaust. It was viewed as beneath the sensibilities of the German people. Though there were some people, some of whom gladly participated, that viewed it as a worthy activity of them and their country and their nation and their people. And so, the sins of the father, though we wish them not to be true, are still suffered by those today. Well, I believe in God, because there's nothing not made by the hand of man that doesn't make perfect sense. And mind you, elucidate is a much better word than illuminate. Your job isn't to make light, it's to open a window. All right, y'all. Hope everybody takes it easy. Cheers.